The number one misconception that people have about time management is that it requires some kind of magical manipulation of your time. Either that you need to wake up earlier, or that you need to work smarter, not harder, or that you need to learn how to chunk or batch your tasks. All of those things make sense, and all of those things will certainly help you to get more done in your day and be more productive, but none of those are actually the root cause of your time management struggles. I want you to understand that the number one reason you struggle with time management is not because you have too much on your plate. It's not because there aren't enough hours in the day. It's not because you're highly sought after, right? The number one reason that you are struggling with time management is because you have poor boundaries. What are boundaries? Boundaries are the lines, the limits, and the terms that we set to separate ourselves from other people, right? A boundary is the line you draw to distinguish your needs from everybody else's expectations. And if you are walking around with blurry boundaries, you are most likely piling on tasks that aren't that important to you. You are most likely building up overwhelm and stress and plenty of resentment, right? But you don't have to live there. You don't have to stay in this place of taking on all these things that you don't want to be doing. There are tools and there are strategies that you can use to set firmer boundaries and to set clearer boundaries. So I wanted to very quickly talk about what you can do there. So boundaries are your way of letting someone know that you are in charge of your time and your energy, and that you take full responsibility of protecting your time and your energy. And the only way you can do that is by making very clear what you will and will not do, and what you will and will not accept, so that you can control how you do and do not spend your time. Here are a few tools I wanted to share with you to better manage your time, because at the end of the day, time management has nothing to do with how many hours there are in the day and everything to do with how you're managing other people's expectations. The easiest tool to use is a firm, appropriate no. No is a complete sentence, and no normally doesn't require any explanation. But if you want to jazz it up and make it sound pretty for people that genuinely are afraid of the N-word, no, not the other N-word. If you are afraid to say no to somebody, you can use the broken record technique. That is when you say your response, and then you find ways to repeat that response over and over again until someone gets the point. If someone says, let's say, for example, someone asking me, Adama, are you able to stay 2 hours later tonight to finish this report? My first answer is, I'm unable to do that. And if the person would say, well, I really need you, and I know that you're the only one that can get this done, I can say, I understand that I've done this before, but I'm unable to do this at this time. And they can say, it's really hard for me to get this done by myself, and I know you're the only one that can do this. You can say, I understand that this is causing an inconvenience, and I'm unable to do this at this time. Standing firm, continuing to say the same thing over and over again. The broken record, if nothing else, will annoy the person into walking away from you. You're not responsible for them getting their job done as long as you got yours done. So, boundary, broken record technique. Another tool you can use is to plan your day the night before. If you plan your day the night before and put actual things that you want to get done in your calendar, that's your way of putting you on your to-do list so that you can recognize when someone's trying to impose. If you already have an idea of all the things you want to get done for you, and somebody else is jumping in on a time that you've already marked off for those things in your calendar, you can actually point to your calendar and say, I'm unable to at this time. If you have nosy people at your office that need to see what you're doing at all times, you can actually put a block in your Google Calendar that says busy or out of office or meeting, whatever you need to call it to make it okay for people to understand that you're not able to take this on at that time. Another tool that's really helpful for me is the 3Ds: do now, delay, and delegate. What that means is when you are reviewing your to-do list, either the to-do list that you're writing out the night before your big day or the morning of, when you're writing out this list, you go through all the items on your to-do list, and you will decide, is this something super urgent and time-bound that I need to get done right now? If so, that's something you're going to focus on first. For delaying, if it's something that you know is not super urgent and probably not even something that is that important to you, then you can push that to the back. And delegate. This is probably the most important. For all my super women out here who feel like they owe it to the world to do everything on their own, there are no box seats in heaven for burnout. So stop taking on these tasks when there are people around waiting to help you. So, if there is a task that you know is important, but not necessarily urgent, and something that can be done fine enough by somebody else, feel free to delegate, either to somebody that's really good at it, somebody that knows how to do it, somebody that really enjoys doing it. You can delegate. The world is not going to explode because you handed off a task to someone that doesn't care about the details as much as you do. For all my perfectionists out there, it's super important to keep that in mind. So there's a broken record technique, there's planning your day the night before, and there is the do now, delay, or delegate tool. And a bonus tip, just that helps me a lot. I am very easily distracted by the buzzing of my phone. I don't turn on the ringer because the ringer irritates me, right? But I have my phone on vibrate 99% of the time. And I'm very easily distracted by the buzz. It's a super loud buzz. And so if it's under something or on a table, I can almost always hear it. In order to make sure that I am not distracted by every Facebook or Periscope or Twitter notification, to make sure that I am not, derailing myself just because my husband texted me or just because, I'm getting a phone call from, a student loan collector or something. What I need to do is turn my phone on Do Not Disturb. I don't always feel good about turning my phone all the way off. I don't always feel good about that. I'm still working through that. But I can put it on the Do Not Disturb. And I think it's really important that you recognize if you are easily disturbed or distracted by your phone, that Do Not Disturb app is everything. Or the Do Not Disturb function is everything. So, if you are someone who has ever said out loud, I never have enough time, or if you're someone that's considering taking a class on time management, before you spend your money trying to figure out the newest tips and tricks to move around your time and try and make magic out of the same 24 hours that everybody else has, why don't you do some assessing of what kinds of things are distracting you and why you feel like it's your job to give in to those things? And before you do that, make sure you get very clear on what you are willing or not willing to do, tolerate, or spend your time on. If you have questions about how to better manage your time, if you have questions about how to set better boundaries, or if you have questions about how to give yourself permission to separate yourself from what other people ask of you, let's get on the phone. Please find me at dreamleaplive.com. On my contact page, you can drop me a line about exactly what you've been struggling with, whether it is feeling like you're not allowed to set boundaries, whether it's feeling like you never have time to put you on your to-do list, whether it's feeling like your boundaries are not working and you need to renegotiate them. That's what I'm here for. So let's get on the phone and talk about that. And I'm going to ask that if this was helpful for you, or if you know someone that it could be helpful for, that you please click share and send this out on your personal page or on the page of somebody that could really use these boundary setting tips. Time management is almost never about time and always about managing other people's expectations and your approval addiction. My name is Adama Hamadi, your delicious living coach. Go on, get yours, and live deliciously. Talk to you later.